this project, and with every right are very proud of what they've been able to accomplish, working very diligently on this. So today we're going to begin our program with a presentation by Councilwoman Mary Kate Mullen. Kate, if you would come to the podium. She's going to be recognizing an outstanding team from our town. Oh, here she is.
Thank you, Supervisor Carpenter. It's my pleasure today to present our first award to the Bayport Blue Point Women's Lacrosse Team for earning the Suffolk County Class C title. These young women worked incredibly hard this season and earned the school's first championship since 2014, so 5 years. But girls, all I have to tell you is you must like the rain, because I feel like every time it's raining, you're here. Or, you had a great victory against Mount Sinai in the pouring rain, and you really rose to the challenge and excelled and played your best, and it showed in your victory. And I know I speak for everyone in the Bayport community. We are so proud of you, and within the whole town of Islip. Girls, you really are outstanding, and you did a great job, and we look forward to seeing you guys, except for the seniors who are graduating. Congratulations to you. We hope to see you back here next year. Well, first, I need to thank the coaches, Coach Jen and Coach Gick. You guys really did an outstanding job, and why don't you bring everyone up?
Congratulations, everyone.
Our next honoree this afternoon is a dear friend and Bayshore resident, Coach Guy Leggio. Guy, why don't you come forward? Last month, Guy was inducted into the Suffolk County Sports Hall of Fame. I mean, this is really a big, big deal. Coach Leggio propelled the East Islip High School wrestling program into a dynamo. He spent 21 seasons as East Islip's head coach, compiling a 270 to 115 to 5 record, and was inducted into the National Wrestling Hall of Fame in 2014. I happened to be able to be at the induction ceremony. I've been kind of involved in the Sports Hall of Fame tangentially for many, many years from my days in the county. But this was a particularly poignant presentation that evening because Guy's father, Jumper Leggio, who is a legend, was able to be there that evening and join in celebrating the accomplishment. So having a father and son duo, not the only one, but not many father and son duos who are in the Suffolk County Sports Hall of Fame. And Guy also serves our community probably in a very thankless position as a member of the school board. It's not easy. Not easy being an elected official. But we thank you for your service. We really, really do. His dad also has become legendary in the world of kid wrestling. Started that program in Bayshore. It's got to be 63, so a lot of years ago. So, Guy, congratulations on behalf of the town board. We're very, very proud of you. Reciting the pledge sort of reminds me of the many Flag Day ceremonies we were at this past week. And seeing the kids so intent and really truly respecting our flag and everything that it represents. And I guess it was a week ago Saturday, a lot of us had the privilege of being there when Frank Romeo completed his journey to raise awareness to the problem of PSTD amongst veterans. And it was a very moving ceremony, and we're going to be recognizing Frank at the town board next month. So we will move to the agenda. Okay, we'll begin this afternoon with our scheduled public hearing for the board's consideration and ask our town clerk, Olga Murray, to please read the hearing notice.
Thank you. There's one hearing today to consider the transfer of 73 Hyde Park Avenue in Bay Shore under the CDA's Direct Sale Affordable Housing Program.
Good afternoon, Madam Supervisor and members of the board. For the record, my name is James Bowers. I'm the Executive Director of the Town of Islip Community Development Agency. The item before you today involves authorizing the CDA to convey premises known as 73 Hyde Park Avenue, Bay Shore, to Louis Castillo and Mariluz Alcantara Di Castillo pursuant to a contract of sale for first-time home buyers. The purchases were selected through our lottery process, which was held on August 16, 2018, and they've been found to be fully qualified and were approved by the CDA Board of Directors. We therefore ask for your support on this resolution. Please note that this resolution is subject to a permissive referendum.
Thank you, Jay. Are there any questions? Is there anyone else who wishes to address the board on this hearing? Hearing none, is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing and grant the transfer.
Second?
Second.
We have a motion, Councilwoman Bergen, second by Councilman Cochran. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It is approved.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. That concludes our public hearings, and now we will move to the public portion. We have quite a number of speakers today, and just to remind everyone, you have 3 minutes, and hopefully we will be conducting this in a very respectful and informative manner. It would be much appreciated. So the first speaker today is Jim Schlau.
A lot of speakers.
Hello again, Jim Slough, 415 Cliff Street, 51 years. I'm back again to ask if they could revise this noise code ordinance, because I've shown it to my sister who works in a lawyer's office. I showed it to my brother, who's a Cornell graduate, and myself. I taught science labs for 20 years at the Merchant Marine Academy, and I think that it's causing confusion, especially this part here. You know, it talks about N, subtext N, no televisions, loudspeakers. When I call the cops, you know, once in a while you get lucky and they stop it, because this is loud. This is like being inside of the OBI, worse, because I got a 300-watt stereo in my room and I can't drown it out. And this weekend, no, 2 weekends ago, they were throwing bottles at the house and broke glass all over the side of my house. You see, this is who you're dealing with, because somewhere in the noise ordinance, I think it says something about going over and talking to the people. I've done that. You know, F you, get the hell out of here, it's none of your business. You know, we could do what we want. This is like, I think Berg was accused of calling this becoming an S-hole country. Well, that's what's happening to my neighborhood. She's got a real spine. She knows what's going on. I'm telling you. They not only did they break bottles, but they scratched obscenities in my brother's car. You know, I'm sitting in my room, you know, like 8 or 9 hours. You can't read, you can't watch the television. The cops argue with me. You know, I got no representation, and I'm a veteran, you know. The people that are coming here, I don't know where they're coming from. Maybe they lived in the Bronx first. Maybe it's the gentrification of the city. Maybe they're coming straight from South America, because that's what the music is. and they blast it. It doesn't stop. Every weekend, now it's going on Sundays. You know, and you can hear it up to a mile away. Something's got to be done about this. It's untenable. I'm the only one who comes down here to talk about it, but I know I'm not the only one complaining about it, because the police officers told me I got 3 more noise complaints to go to, and the sheriff, not the sheriff, the sergeant who showed up said after he leaves my house, he's got 3 more to go to. So people are complaining about this. You know, they're just not coming here because maybe they don't want to be seen on television. Maybe they don't have the time. I'm retired now, and I look forward to my retirement. But I'd like to move out of Central Islip, but if I move out of Central Islip, I have to leave the state, because after I sell a house, I won't be able to afford the taxes anywhere else. That's all I got.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you.
Next speaker, Anthony Fanny.
Good afternoon, board and members. Yes, my name is Anthony Fanny. I'm the owner of Fanco Properties, who owns 3321 Sunrise Highway in Islip Terrace, that's slated for demolition, and I had the notice to come down here. The first thing is, we are willing and, going to comply with the town and have that building taken down. We do have some financial constraints upon us right now. We're in the process of trying to sell it, and I actually have 2 realtors that are working on 2 separate buyers, and we're just trying to work out all the details. They're doing their due diligence with the town to find out what they could do with that property, what type of building they could put on it. So we're looking for an extension of a year or so to get our funds together, to get the sale together with whoever is going to wind up buying it, and we will have the building taken down. I think that's pretty much, I'm only taking a minute out of it, but that's pretty much all we have.
Okay.
Yes, it's 3321 Sunrise Highway in Islip Terrace.
When were you first slated to start doing the demo on this?
Well, I've actually sent out, I've only just started, once I've gotten paperwork and whatnot from the town, I started getting quotes from other demolition people, which prompted why it's pretty, I realize that it's expensive. We did send out our 3 letters to the PSEG, Suffolk County Water, to get the demolition letters, we're starting the movements. But the money is the main constraint for us right now, and we're trying to work out, I'm going to try to work out a deal with whoever winds up buying it on how we're going to wind up getting it taken down.
When were you first, I guess, were you told that this structure had to come down?
No, about a year ago, we received a letter
Okay.
from I believe it was the fire marshal, to put up a fence. So we did secure the building with a perimeter fence. The first letter that we've actually gotten to take it down was probably about 6 weeks ago, a month ago.
Okay, we'll certainly look into this. Thank you for coming down.
Okay, thank you for listening.
Next speaker, Nick Loprogallo.
Hi, I'm Nick Loprogallo from 54 Harwood Avenue in East Islip. I'm here to talk today about the intersection of Harwood Avenue and Union Boulevard in East Islip. This must be one of the most dangerous intersections in town. Over the years, this intersection has been the site of numerous crashes. I've seen fences damaged, I've seen guardrails bent, and I frequently see car parts scattered on the ground. Almost every month there's an accident here. The problem is that the intersection is right outside of a long, dark tunnel, and there's no stoplight. So most people don't look both ways when they cross. Last month there was a brutal crash that not only totaled the car, but also destroyed the utility pole on the corner, and the utility pole has since been replaced, but the street light has not yet been replaced, which makes this area even more dangerous at night. In 2016, there were 2 fatalities at this intersection, only a month apart. One of them killed a young mother and her dog, and the other involved a relative of mine, although thankfully she survived. And this intersection has also been used as a children's bus stop, which means that kids are at risk. I actually used this bus stop when I was in middle school, so I know. There's also a family who lives on the corner who has children, and they can't play outside because it's too dangerous. So I'm asking that you please put a stoplight at the intersection. If not a stoplight, then at least a yield sign or lights in the tunnel, or even traffic cones to help people slow down. I realize that this block has been tested for dangerous conditions in the past, but still nothing has been done to change it. So please help us make this block safer and prevent more tragedies. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We certainly will refer this to traffic safety. But to just be aware that Union Boulevard is a county road, so we can reach out to them and work with them, but ultimately it would be their decision. But thanks so much. Andy Cross.
Andy Cross, 114 Brentwood Street in Bay Shore. And once again, I'm here about the New York State, or NYS, real property tax line on my tax bill. Although down this year, it should have went down 3 years ago when the house's pricing raised 3 years ago. If it went down 3 years ago, like it should have, combine that with this year's decrease, and the tax would be off the bill. And where did all that extra money go? 2 town board meetings ago, the half-truth controller said all the extra money bonded for Clementi Park was staying at Clementi Park. $4 million extra for the park. And how come it took so long to get it back in operation? How come the state had to pay for a spray park when there was $4 million extra in the bond? How come there's still no skate park? With an extra $4 million, there should be skate parks and spray parks in all town parks. And was the money spent on things that you put on Clementi Park just to spend the extra $4 million, like park police that are here now? Are they being paid by Clementi Park? I've been living in Baywood for almost 30 years, probably 35. In that time, I've seen the roads across Bayshore Road in West Islip repaved twice, while our roads haven't even been touched. My neighbor came to the town board meeting 2 years ago saying the lines in the road are so big you can put flowers in them. And since then, nothing's been done. With the 51% increase in the highway tax, you think that after 30 years, at least all the roads in Baywood should be done. Almost all of them have this split right down the asphalt. And when the school buses, UPS, FedEx, delivery trucks go over the hole, my whole house shakes. And can you put this on top of Clementi Park, like all the other things not related to Clementi Park, rather than town finances? Last time, 2 times ago when I was here, the controller said all the money going to Clementi Park was going to stay in Clementi Park. So that was like a half-truth, because we know all the other things that you put on there to spend town money and not spend it in... Done.
Thank you, Mr. Cross. Next speaker, Robert McGrath. Robert McGrath. Okay, Mary Jane McCormick.
Good afternoon, board members. My name is Mary Jane McCormick. I live and own the property at 4 Tudor Lane, Bayshore, New York. Can you hear me okay?
Pull the mic up a little, please.
Okay. I'll just repeat the address. Yes, it's 4 Tudor Lane, Bay Shore, New York. I am directly across from what is listed as Thomas Lane, no, Thomas Drive. I don't know if anybody's here from All Phase Development and Construction. I believe they're the property owners. It's been about 13 years. There's 6 foundations or so, and 3 homes were started to put up, and they stopped. So over the last 13 years, it's been a daily chore to go out and pick up garbage, drug paraphernalia, and assorted other things that are, I don't even want to mention. But it's a hazard. It's an eyesore. In my opinion, it's an accident, really bad accident waiting to happen, whether it be fire or, somebody maybe moving in there and, it's, hopefully something could be done. I don't know if they could be taken down. It's half boarded up. They're really dilapidated. I don't really believe they could be used for living at this point. I think if somebody does buy it, they'll have to be taken down anyway. So I don't want to just take up more time and repeat the same thing over and over. I just appeal to you to please consider, have something done to, also because there's a lot of, I don't want to say undesirable, but there's like homeless people that go in and out of there. And, it's, my backyard is directly across the street, so sometimes I'm out back and I'm like, oh, gotta go in, and it makes me nervous. It makes some of the other neighbors on the block nervous too. They've had some run-ins with people. But thank you for your time.
You're very welcome. The numbers that you wrote here is 4, 6, and then is there another number?
There's several, I just.
Oh, okay.
I do have it on my phone, if you.
And it is on the agenda today?
They're all on number 3 today,
Okay,
Okay.
so they are on the agenda, so hopefully.
Thank you again.
You're very welcome. Thanks for coming down. Next speaker, Patty Montanino. Oh, okay. Mr. McGrath?
Okay, I live at 12 Secretog Avenue in East Islip. On the corner of my block on Montauk Highway, there's a Lee's Auto Body. I've made numerous complaints to your office, code enforcement office, and it just seems that nothing ever gets done. That place is a junkyard, not an auto body place. You turn the corner, there's smacked up cars parked in the street. They dump them there over the weekend and they leave them in there. They park into the building. Their side yard is 10 feet off the building, so the rest of it is the town property. I've been complaining about that for years. I've lived there since 1987. It has not stopped. The only thing that he did do is he stopped parking cars at one end and he parks them at the other end now, into his building. I don't know how he got permits to redo the face of his building without putting curbs in and putting a parking lot in. This is 2019. He's got dirt for a parking lot. You turn the corner, they're working on cars. He's got over 40 cars and boats in that backyard of that place. That's zoned, I believe, Business 1. I have an aerial shot that shows the cars being parked on the side and in the back of the building, which is a junkyard. It's not cars he's working on. It's just piles of junk. If he cleaned his yard up, he could get everything in it. So, I don't know what else to do. I don't know why they don't put curbs in. If the town can put curbs in, no parking signs, whatever. But this is ridiculous. I come home on the weekends, and I turn the corner, and I got to see a wreck, or 2 or 3 wrecks, and I got pictures of them, tons of them. So I don't know what else to do here. That's why I'm here speaking today, is that I'm hoping that somebody will do something.
Mr. McGrath, Public Safety is here, and I will make sure that they check this out for you.
Okay,
Thank you for coming down.
thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, Patty Montanino.
Pat Montanino, East Islip, New York. I was I was sent a letter from a town resident, and it was a very disturbing letter, which referred to residents that were chosen to be put onto the plumbing board, zoning board, planning board. And the letter that the woman sent to me asking for desperate help because the town did not respond to the letter she sent to you on May 10th, that you put on one of the boards, the zoning board, you put on Christopher Nicolia. Now, she also sent me the picture he put in writing on Facebook that, and I'm trying to figure out why the town would even entertain putting him on a board, that he's a racist and he does not believe in biracial dating, and that he is a very excessive drinker. Now, that was in May she sent the letter to all of you. And as of today, he's still on the board for zoning. I don't know how the town is allowing a racist and a drunk that he admits, this is not my wording, this is his wording. Then you, Ms. Carpenter, you appointed Jim Alkus to one of the boards just recently. Now, Mr. Alkus, I think this is becoming like a habit here. He forged his brother's information to get a credit card. He went to court for operating under the influence of drugs and alcohol. He operated, leaving the scene of an accident, operated a motor vehicle with his suspended license. Okay, then we have also Mr. Nicolia donated $6,875, and I'm just wondering if that's the cost of forgetting about being a racist and a drunk. And then you appointed Mr. Matamore. He had 2 lawsuits against him. And he was also fired by the Suffolk County Water Authority for practicing law while he was being paid to work at the Water Authority. This has become, and he also stole $2 million from one of his law clients.
Thank you very much,
I'm just wondering
Mrs.
if this
Montanino.
is becoming a habit with the board and why Mr. Nicolia and the rest of them are
Time's
still
up.
on the
Thank you so
board.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, Melissa Parat.
Good afternoon. It's nice to see you. It's been a while since I've been here. Thank you. I want to start off by thanking you all for your support for Students for Climate Action over the years. Formerly Suffolk Student Climate Action Committee, we changed the name to accommodate a broader group of students beyond Suffolk County. Your approval for moving forward with Islip Town's Climate Smart Community is appreciated, and we look forward to working with Commissioner Bellew on this in the future. In fact, I think Lilia will be talking about that in just a few moments. I'd also like to commend you for appointing a youth constituent to ITEC, Islip Town Environmental Council. Harrison Bench, who is that student, has benefited much from that, and he has been able to achieve results in that position. Unfortunately, he's graduating high school this year, and we're losing him. He's moving to the University of South Carolina, and he'll no longer be able to serve. As the executive director, I'd like to recommend another student to replace Harrison as a youth representative to ITEC. Ms. Joanne Ziegler, who will be a senior and co-president for Students for Climate Action, is taking a final right now, or she would be here. She's a true leader, she's a passionate advocate for the environment and the climate crisis, and will be an excellent youth representative. And I'd love to submit her resume for your consideration for next year.
Thank you.
Thank you. I also would just like to say, with the realistic passing of the Community and Climate and Community Protection Act with Governor Cuomo, we look forward to working with you closely and hopefully achieving results in the new resolution that I know that Harrison presented to you last time he was here. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And thank you for mentioning the young lady's name. We'll look forward to getting that resume along with many others. Thank you. Lilia Bartolotta.
Hi, Lilia Bartolotta, 77 Indian Head Drive, Sayville. And I'm with Melissa, and I'm from the Students for Climate Action, and I just wanted to talk about the recent movements to push forward for the CCPA in the Senate. I ask you, the town council, to consider the climate resolution that Harrison Bench proposed to you a few meetings ago, to consider it, because this resolution would not only put us align us with the initiatives in the CCPA, but it would also benefit our town greatly in regards to climate change. And I look forward to arranging a meeting with Mr. Bellew to discuss what we can further do to put initiatives that support climate change in our town. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lilia. And I know Commissioner Ballew looks forward to working with all of you. Next speaker, Patrick Baldini.
How's it going, everybody? Patrick Baldini, 24 Cortland Place, Bayshore. I'm here with a group of residents, actually. I'm not speaking about what I put on the topic, it's just something else, but it's something that's also important to us. It's a certain area on Main Street that's kind of been taken over by homeless people. It's one certain spot, and it's kind of become the epicenter right in Bayshore. It's on the corner of Smith and Mechanicsville. I've called a couple times to public safety, and a few times they actually have come, and they've come and chased them out, and that's awesome, but it's 24/7. They even have chairs and stuff set up. It's right there, it's by the laundromat that's right there. And unfortunately, because they all congregate there all day, naturally they pass through our property, and we've had several incidents. I have some pictures just from residents. A lot of us have had confrontations, and it just seems like they are moving through our property, and they kind of all end up at the same spot. So I was just hoping that maybe we could step up the public safety, like if they can go by there a couple times a day, it might just kind of cut down on the traffic throughout the area and kind of help out other problems that have been going on. But yeah, I just wanted to bring it to the board's attention, that one spot, and to see if we can do anything about it. Okay.
Patrick, I'm one of the people that calls too about that, because I pass that way
willy-nilly,
almost
right?
every day.
Yeah.
It is a problem, and it's something that we're trying to engage Suffolk County in their Department of Social Services. Years ago, used to have a very aggressive outreach program, and these people that obviously are homeless need services, and this team would come out and speak with them and try to help engage them. But we are aware of it, and, all we can do is try to move them along, and, unfortunately, they're just going to move someplace else. But hopefully, working with social services, we can effectuate a permanent solution for that.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Thank you. I go.
Next speaker, Donna Perricone.
We cut all the woods back to try to get, open it up. Oh, really?
Donna Perricone, representing the Chamber of Commerce of Greater Bayshore. More than 4 years ago, this board started installing meters in Bayshore. Today, we still remain the only hamlet in the town of Islip with meters. Only Bayshore commuters must pay to park at our train station, not in Islip, Sayville, Brentwood, or any other Islip hamlet. Only Bayshore commuters must pay to park, and only Bayshore employees must pay to go to work. They put money in meters all day Saturday, all day Sunday, after 6 p.m. on Mondays through Fridays. Is this fair? Is this just? No. And you, our leaders, know it, and you've done nothing about it. We are forced to endure these meters. If we are forced to endure these meters, the revenues should be going only to Bayshore, as you originally promised in 2014, not to ISOP's general fund. In November 2018, the Chamber filed a lawsuit seeking to show the town has failed to follow state law by diverting monies away from Bayshore into ISLEP's general fund. The ISLEP town attorney made a motion to dismiss our lawsuit, and last Wednesday, on June the 12th, the Chamber responded. Let's look at the staggering figures that we are talking about. The town of Islip collected almost $1 million from the meters in 2017, and $1 million almost from the meters in 2018. Recently, in Newsday and on News 12, the town claimed that in 2018, $395,000 of the meter money was spent on improvements to Maple Avenue, including drainage, new curbs, and sidewalks. Did this board forget that in 2014, the town received $1.6 million from the New York State Department of Transportation for these exact improvements on Maple Avenue? And then we are told that $257,000 from meter revenues went for salaries paid to 3 town employees who operate the meter program. I repeat, $257,000, over $250,000 coming from Bayshore meters, the meters that we don't want to pay the salaries of meter employees. Do you wonder why Bayshore is called Islip's cash cow? As the leaders of the town of Islip, you've been unfair, you've been unjust, and you've been untruthful to us. You lied to us when you forced this meter program. I'm going to take another minute.
Donna, I'm sorry, everyone has 3 minutes.
Well, if you could take $2 million from Bayshore over the last 3 years, I think I could take 1 more minute of your time.
Donna, your time is up. Thank you.
My time is up.
Yeah.
Will nobody on this board allow me to speak another minute? No one. No one with a conscience. No one who knows the difference between right and wrong. You want to take me out in handcuffs? I'll be delighted to go with you.
Donna, thank you.
Don't thank me.
I will
Not
thank you.
sincere.
Thank you for being part of the process, coming out and sharing your feelings. But I will tell you, we are just and we are truthful. And we have donated or contributed a staggering amount of investment in downtown Bayshore for the last 20-plus years. Thank you.
I'd like to see the transparency there. This came from the town of Islip. These were not our statements. These came from members of the town of Islip.
Thank you, Donna. Next speaker, Scott Kirsch.
Good afternoon. Scott Kirsch, Great River, New York. I had 3 concerns about policies within my community. One of them being illegal apartments. I know for a fact there's an illegal apartment at 285 Wood Hollow Road. I spoke to the inspector, Leonard Schnall. His response to me was he was denied access on May 23rd, and the homeowner has an expectation of privacy. So as far as he was concerned, by the homeowner stating that he denied him access to the house, the inspector came back and said that the homeowner had an expectation of privacy. So how does that make sense, that if you just denied somebody access for something that's illegal in your home, is that the end of the case?
It's the law, unfortunately.
So anybody can have an illegal apartment, and if I just deny them access to my premise, it's an expectation of privacy as being a homeowner, and then nothing can be done about that? That's my one concern. My second concern is garbage pickup within the community. It's supposed to be out 4 p.m. the day prior to garbage pickup. You drive through Great River on the weekend, Saturday, Sunday, holidays, there's 10 people that have garbage out. When I call the town to have them go out and inspect, on occasions they do, and on other times, holiday weekends, they're not here. It's a holiday, they're not there. When the problems are being committed on the weekend, that's when an inspector needs to drive through the community and see that people have their garbage out on Saturday for a Monday pickup. And my last concern would be the town dock in Great River. It's being used as a parking lot. There's not one person on the fishing pier, and there's 2-3 cars vacant, sitting there all day long in the town park dock on Great River Road. So I called about that. They said they were going to send a park ranger out there. They said that, what's the suspicious vehicle? But the suspicious vehicle being that it's unoccupied, and there's nobody crabbing, there's nobody fishing, nobody sitting on the benches down there. They're just coming down there, parking cars all day long, because I witnessed it. So those are my 3 concerns that I see in Great River that I would just like maybe somebody could address them.
Okay.
Thank you.
Scott, the commissioner is here. I know he's heard what you said, and we will look into it all.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I do know that I saw a ranger car just the other day at that very dock. They had received a call, I don't know if it was from you or not, but there was a vehicle that was parked there with no one in it, and there was some concerns, and they responded. So thank you. Michael Gargaro.
Good afternoon. Michael Gargano, 812 Stanley Street, West Islip, 20-year resident. 2 years ago, across the street at 813, we had a family move in to an abandoned house. Wonderful people. Within a year, they did more than the previous owner did in 10 years. I welcomed them to the neighborhood. Back in March, they started this wellness center out of the house. We have a formal complaint. I understand there was surveillance, total disregard and consideration of the neighbors, of their vehicles parked every which direction in the street, virtually taking over from Melmac to Pine Court with parking of their clients. A formal complaint has been made. We're just curious where we're going with that and if anything has been done.
Again, the commissioner is here. I think he's out in the hall, if you can catch his attention. Otherwise, I've just asked you, you said the cars were parked from Melmac to what was the other street?
Pine Street.
Pine Street, okay.
Yes. Typically, it's an unwritten rule. You kind of respect everybody's parking in front of their house, unless there's guests. There seems to be an abundance of guests at this house at all times.
Okay.
The past resident, there was some illegal activities going on. It leads us to suspicion that something else might be going on there. Cars waiting out in the street, parked in the opposite direction, people coming and going at all times, cigarette butts and garbage being thrown on the street. It's a concern of all the neighbors. Apparently, I'm the only one here today, but it's a concern of all of us.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. We will certainly look into it. Next speaker, Greg Pepe.
Greg Pepe, Islip, New York. I'd like to pick up where Mrs. Perricone left off with the parking meters. But I don't know if the people of Bay Shore are aware that Mr. Cochran, who has a business over at 21 3rd Avenue, has seasonal parking leasing that you can have there. And I was wondering if the rates are cheaper than what the town's collecting by the meters. But besides that, the monies you're collecting from these parking meters are going into a general fund. The general fund, that money's pay off your increase in salaries as well as the rest of the town employees. So basically, these people are paying a tax by parking there, which is being used for your pay raises. So if you add up all the raises you've given to all your supervisors throughout the departments, yourselves, you know, that's like almost $500,000+ okay? So there was really no reason for you to put meters on Main Street at the railroad station down at the marina. It's just an extra tax for these people to pay. I personally, and many people I know, are boycotting Bay Shore to even go shopping there because of that reason. Then you started lining here in Islip Hamlet. The only thing I'm missing are the numbers on the street, but you made a big mistake there because those are illegal. Because according to New York State, they had to be a minimum of 22 feet. You made them 17 feet in Islip, so you held up on putting the kiosks on Main Street for now. But you know, we can keep talking until we're blue in the face. The biggest thing right now for all of us is to do this November is to vote the three of yous out. Because that's the only way you're going to make change in the town. So I don't care if you're a Republican, Democrat, liberal, conservative, they have to join together, people. Wake up, Sabo especially, because Reckler's waiting for these people to get back in so that he can have a field day putting up his project over there in Island Hills. So this thing comes down to the vote, and it comes down to this November. So please, everybody, think this thing out. Because if these people get back in, there's not going to be just Bay Shore needed. It's going to go from Islip to Sayville to Oakdale on east. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Mr. Pepe. Chris Ponce or Pence? Ponce.
Good afternoon. My name is Chris Ponce. I reside at 36 Cortland Place. I represent units 1 through 40 Cortland Place. I'm the president of the Homeowners Association there. I'm here to speak to you regarding the new bike lane down 4th Avenue that took away the parking that we were utilizing right in front of our units on 4th Avenue. So this new bike lane has displaced approximately 8 vehicles of homeowners there and directly. So now since the bike lane, we're forced to park over on Park Avenue, which is a block down, or just on different parts of or Mechanicsville, parts where we can't see our vehicle, and and from what we can see, it's unreasonable amount of distance for us to walk, being direct taxpayers to the town of Islip. It's directly affected multiple families with children that have to walk distances to just to get back inside their home and so forth. We're here today, and I'm representing homeowners that are also here with me as well, to just ask that you reconsider the layout of the bike lane on 4th Avenue, specifically more so just to move because the bike lane ends right on Mechanicsville, and it continues on south of Main Street. And Mechanicsville is just the end of our community. So we're just asking if you can just move that one sign where the bike lane ends just to the corner of our driveway, so that way we can just retain that parking so it's not directly impacting our community. Though it's only 8 vehicles that may be displaced at the moment, it really affects the rest of the community because we're forced to park in other places where other homeowners are also parking as well, displacing everybody else especially. So we're just asking that you just reconsider the layout for that, just for us taxpayers here in the town of Islip.
Okay, thank you, Chris. We have one more speaker after you, but after that, I'm having Peter Klutschka come up, who handles that whole parking issues for us and has some comments to make on that, okay?
Sure.
Thank you. I do have a question. Is there parking within the complex behind the units?
Yes.
So there's on-site parking besides the street parking?
That's correct.
Okay.
There's 53 parking spaces within our parking lot, which is just not sufficient enough to hold for 40 units with families.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Next speaker, Joe Fritz.
Good afternoon, Joe Fritz, a Brentwood resident. I'd like to thank Donna Perricone and Greg Pepe for the segue with what I'm going to be speaking about. I'm an attorney who practices in East Islip. I'm again speaking on behalf of those who stand behind me and those who will be watching this on Islip television. I'm seeking the election in town government. I ask the voters of West Sayville, Oakdale, Bohemia, and Bayport, and East Islip, do we really need the overzealous projects that have been built or are in the hopper in the town of Islip? The project that I'm referring to is the mega development of the former Island Hills Golf Course. The board is listening intently and trying to be objective, but when the time comes, they will vote with their wallet and not what's good for the community. Elected Republican officials are free to comment on every issue before them. They're not commenting on Island Hills. Why should they listen to our community? They don't have to. They've been in office for decades and do not fear the voter. Those who will be most affected by the development of Island Hills Golf Course should look at what the Islip Town Board did to Brentwood. They burdened the citizens with the approval of 9,000 apartment units. They chose to create an urban environment when none existed. Did the town board take this into consideration when they voted? Voters of Sayville, West Sayville, Oakdale, and Bohemia, what do you think? Should we expect the town board to vote differently when the decision will be made in Island Hills? I don't think so. Our team of candidates will fight to prevent overdevelopment in your community and all communities in our town. We are committed to preventing overuse of our land, overuse of our facilities, and ask you, the voter, to vote for those who care about your community when it's obvious that our current board does not. I say this because if they cared about the development of Heartland, would they have increased the multiple story from 5 to 10? Instead, the supervisor chose 10 stories along with the entire board. The future of the development of Island Hills should not be in their hands, but yours. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Fritz. We have no other cards. Motion to close the public portion. Motion by Councilman O'Connor, second by Councilman Cochran. Public portion is closed. All in favor. Peter, if you would please come forward and just address that issue of the bike lane and what we might be able to do.
Good afternoon, members of the board, Madam Supervisor, Madam Clerk. Peter Kletchka, 401 Main Street, Islip. I have had discussions with Mr. Ponce, who's been nothing but a gentleman and very understanding with regard to the project and its scope. With regard to the current location that he speaks of, the program has been approved by the state in its final form and therefore implemented as such. As we've done throughout the course of the project, we have looked at making accommodations that were reasonable, rational, and approvable by way of our interactions with the state, and we will do so with regard to this particular request as well.
Okay, so you will take it then to the state and see what we can do to adjust it.
Absolutely.
Great. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Peter, I have a question for you. What was the total cost of that project for Maple Avenue?
Well, it's not complete at this point. However, I believe the information that was discussed here today with regard to the state's portion of about $1.6 million, as far as the grant is concerned, is correct. However, the town does have portions and obligations upwards of 20% or better that they will have to provide to supplement the grant. That is the standard design here. It's an 80-20 split. There are also items that were outside of the scope that the town would have to pay for, such as paving in certain areas that weren't included in the scope because they were not reimbursable by way of the state's
So would it be
guidelines.
safe to guesstimate that it was about $400,000 minimum?
More than that.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, let us move then to the agenda. Okay, the first item on the agenda are the appropriation transfers, I'm sorry. Any questions? Hearing none, motion? Motion by Councilman Mullen. Second? Second by Councilman Cochran. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It is approved. Item 2 are the bid awards. Any questions? Hearing none, motion?
Motion.
Motion by Councilwoman Bergen. Second? Second by Councilman O'Connor. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It is, we have 4 in favor, 1 abstention. Next item are the cleanup and board up resolutions. Item number 3. Taryn?
Good afternoon, Madam Supervisor, members of the Town Board, Town Clerk. Taryn Brzezinski, Assistant Town Attorney, 655 Main Street, Islip, New York. Number 1, to clean up the premises located at 0 Crooked Hill Road in Brentwood. On this property, there now exists high grass, overgrown vegetation, litter and debris, and a fence in disrepair due to fire damage, which constitutes a nuisance and presents a fire, safety, and health hazard. Notice of this hearing was provided to all known persons with a property interest in this premises.
Campaign literature. No.
I'm sorry.
Oh, sure.
Go
I'm
ahead,
done. You guys
Taryn.
have to vote. Do you want me to repeat?
No.
No.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Opposed?
Abstain.
We have 4 in favor, 1 abstention. It is approved. The next item.
Number 2, to clean up the premises located at 0 North Clinton Avenue, Bayshore. On this property, there now exists litter and debris, which constitutes a nuisance and presents a fire, safety, and health hazard. Notice of this hearing was provided to all known persons with a property interest in this premises.
Any questions? Motion? Motion by Councilman O'Connor, second by Councilman Cochran. All those in favor? Opposed? It is approved.
Number 3 has been withdrawn and is now in compliance.
Yeah, I have to abstain on all of them.
Excuse me, reconsider that last resolution. There were 4 in favor, 1 abstention. It is approved. Go ahead. I'm
Number
sorry.
3 has been withdrawn and is now in compliance. Number 4, to clean up the premises located at 0 Thomas Drive, Bayshore. On this property, there now exists high grass, overgrown vegetation, and litter and debris, which constitutes a nuisance and presents a fire, safety, and health hazard. Notice of this hearing was provided to all known persons with the property interest in this premises.
I have a couple of questions if I could.
Sure.
It's really more of the town attorney. I noticed that numbers, with respect to number 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, and 11 are all very similar street addresses. Perhaps those street addresses mentioned by Ms. McCormick earlier. I guess there's a legal reason why we have to do each one separately and independently?
Each one is a separate tax levy number, because we have to add separately.
Okay.
And it also includes 1265,
Oh.
1275.
Spoken by Fire Marshal Doucette, even though asked by
Yeah.
Town Attorney.
1265.
Thank you very much. That's okay. Yes, I see that. Kick your
I'm
feet
just,
up and relax.
I'm asking really more for Ms. McCormick's benefit than my own. I think I knew the answer to my question, but we're addressing each one individually, but addressing the entire location
Development.
today.
Yep.
This way she'll know none is missed.
Exactly.
Okay, Taryn. So
Um,
we're on 4.
Yep.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman O'Connor, second.
Abstain.
By Councilman Cochran. We have 4 in favor, 1 abstention. It is approved.
Number 5, to board and clean up the premises located at 4 Thomas Drive, Bayshore. On this vacant and unsecured property, there now exists unsecured windows and doors with high grass, overgrown vegetation, and litter and debris, which constitutes a nuisance and presents a fire, safety, and health hazard. Notice of this hearing was provided to all known persons with a property interest in this premises.
Any questions?
Motion.
Motion by
Second.
Councilman Cochran, second by Councilman O'Connor. All those in favor? We have 4 in favor, 1 abstention. It is approved.
Number 6, to clean up the premises located at 7 Thomas Drive, Bayshore. On this property, there now exists high grass, overgrown vegetation, and litter and debris, which constitutes a nuisance and presents a fire, safety, and health hazard. Notice of this hearing was provided to all known persons with a property interest in this premises.
Questions? Motion?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Mullen, second.
Abstain.
Second.
Second by Councilman Cochran. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We have 1 abstention. It is approved.
Number 7, to board and clean up the premises located at 8 Thomas Drive, Bayshore. On this vacant and unsecured property, there now exists unsecured windows and doors with high grass, overgrown vegetation, and litter and debris, which constitutes a nuisance and presents a fire, safety, and health hazard. Notice of this hearing was provided to all known persons with a property interest in this premises.
Any questions? Motion?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Cochran, second.
Second.
By Councilman Mullen. All those in favor? Opposed? 1 abstention. It is approved.
Number 8, to clean up the premises located at 11 Thomas Drive, Bayshore. On this property, there now exists high grass, overgrown vegetation, and litter and debris, which constitutes a nuisance and presents a fire, safety, and health hazard. Notice of this hearing was provided to all known persons with a property interest in this premises.
Any questions? Motion? Motion by Councilman O'Connor, second by Councilwoman Mullen, one abstention. 4 in favor, it is approved.
Number 9, to board and clean up the premises located at 12 Portside Drive, Holbrook. On this vacant and unsecured property, there now exists unsecured windows and doors with high grass, overgrown vegetation, and litter and debris, which constitutes a nuisance and presents a fire safety and health hazard. Notice of this hearing was provided to all known persons with a property interest in this premises. Sorry.
Any questions? Motion? Motion by Councilman Cochran, second.
Second.
By Councilwoman Mullen. All those in favor? 1 abstention. It is approved.
Number 10, to clean up the premises located at 12 Thomas Drive, Bayshore. On this property, there now exists high grass, overgrown vegetation, and litter and debris, which constitutes a nuisance and presents a fire, safety, and health hazard. Notice of this hearing was provided to all known persons with a property interest in this premises.
Any questions? Motion?
Second.
Motion by Councilman Mullen, second by Councilman Cochran. 1 abstention, 4 in favor. It is approved.
Number 11 has been withdrawn as it is now in compliance. Number 12, to board and clean up the premises located at 15 Thomas Drive, Bayshore. On this vacant and unsecured property, there now exists unsecured windows and doors with high grass, overgrown vegetation, and litter and debris, which constitutes a nuisance and presents a fire, safety, and health hazard. Notice of this hearing was provided to all known persons with a property interest in this premises.
Any questions? Motion? Motion by Councilman Cochran. Second by Councilman O'Connor. All those in favor? Opposed? 1 abstention. It is approved.
Number 13, to board and clean up the premises located at 19 St. Andrews Drive, Brentwood. On this vacant and unsecured property, there now exists unsecured windows and doors, an unsecured detached garage door with high grass, overgrown vegetation, and litter and debris, which constitutes a nuisance and presents a fire, safety, and health hazard. Notice of this hearing was provided to all known persons with a property interest in this premises.
Any questions? Motion?
Motion?
Motion by Councilman Mullen, second.
Second.
By Councilman Cochran. All those in favor? Opposed? 1 abstention. It is approved.
Number 14, to board and clean up the premises located at 21 Satinwood Street, Central Islip. On this vacant and unsecured property, there now exists unsecured windows and doors, evidence of squatters, with high grass, overgrown vegetation, and litter and debris, which constitutes a nuisance and presents a fire, safety, and health hazard. Notice of this hearing was provided to all known persons with a property interest in this premises.
Any questions? Motion?
Motion.
Motion by Councilwoman Mullen, second.
Second.
By Councilman Cochran. All those in favor? Opposed? Abstention by Councilwoman Bergen. The resolution is approved.
Number 15, to board and clean up the premises located at 32 Deb Court, Bayshore. On this vacant and unsecured property, there now exists unsecured windows and doors with high grass, overgrown vegetation, and litter and debris, which constitutes a nuisance and presents a fire, safety, and health hazard. Notice of this hearing was provided to all known persons with a property interest in this premises.
Any questions?
I have a question, just from the photo, my photo's very dark. Is this like an attached home? Is it a townhome
townhome?
community? Yeah.
That I'm not sure about. It is.
Oh, this is a condo. This looks like a condo.
Yeah, 15.
15?
They are, it is an attached home.
Okay. Is there any ramifications with a homeowners association or anything like that? If you're
Not to my knowledge, because
Okay.
it would go on the individual homeowner's tax bill.
Okay, thank you. I see
Any
you've got a
work that's
picture
done.
with the clerk. Thank you.
Any other questions? Motion?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Cochran, second by Councilwoman Mullen. All those in favor? Opposed? 1 abstention. It is approved.
Number 16, to clean up the premises located at 54 Clark Street, Brentwood. On this property, there now exists high grass, overgrown vegetation, and litter and debris, which constitutes a nuisance and presents a fire, safety, and health hazard. Notice of this hearing was provided to all known persons with a property interest in this premises.
Any questions? Motion?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman O'Connor, second.
Second.
By Councilman Cochran. All those in favor? Opposed? 1 abstention. Resolution is approved.
Number 17, to board and clean up the premises located at 260 Ferndale Boulevard, Islip. On this vacant and unsecured property, there now exists unsecured windows and doors, evidence of squatters with high grass, overgrown vegetation, and litter and debris, which constitutes a nuisance and presents a fire, safety, and health hazard. Notice of this hearing was provided to all known persons with a property interest in this premises.
Motion.
I just have a
Motion by-
quick question. There appears to be a trailer in the driveway. Are we removing that from the
If it's
premises?
unregistered, during
Yeah.
the cleanup, it would be.
Okay, thank you.
Motion by Councilman O'Connor, second.
Second.
By Councilman Cochran. All those in favor? Opposed? Councilman Bergen, abstention. It is approved.
Number 18, to clean up the premises located at 508 Nostrand Avenue, Central Islip. On this property, there now exists high grass, overgrown vegetation, and litter and debris, which constitutes a nuisance and presents a fire, safety, and health hazard. Notice of this hearing was provided to all known persons with a property interest in this premises.
Any questions? Motion?
Motion.
Motion by Councilwoman Mullen, second.
Second.
Second by Councilman Cochran. All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? The resolution is approved.
Number 19, to clean up the premises located at 638 Wilson Boulevard, Central Islip. On this property, there now exists high grass, overgrown vegetation, and litter and debris, which constitutes a nuisance and presents a fire, safety, and health hazard. Notice of this hearing was provided to all known persons with a property interest in this premises.
Any questions? Motion?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Cochran, second.
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Mullen. All those in favor?
Abstain.
Abstention by Councilwoman Bergen. It is approved.
Number 20, to demolish the premises located at 885 Manor Lane, Bayshore. On this vacant and unsecured property, there now exists an unsafe dwelling, which is in immediate danger of collapse due to structural failure, disrepair, and neglect. The structure has been determined to be in imminent danger of collapse by our senior building inspector. The dwelling constitutes a nuisance and presents a fire, safety, and health hazard. Notice of this hearing was provided to all known persons with a property interest in this premises.
Are there any questions? Be a lot of happy people in that neighborhood.
Yes.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Cochran, second.
Abstain.
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Mullen. All those in favor? Councilwoman Bergen abstained. It is approved.
Number 21, to clean up the premises located at 1265 East 3rd Avenue, Bayshore. On this property, there now exists high grass, overgrown vegetation, and litter and debris, which constitutes a nuisance and presents a fire, safety, and health hazard. Notice of this hearing was provided to all known persons with a property interest in this premises.
I have a question.
Yep.
Are these at all, these next two, again, seems neighboring properties are on the same block, are they in any close vicinity to the Thomas Drive addresses? Yeah, because it looks
It's
like
similar.
the photo for number 22
It's the
shows
same.
a structure behind the chain link fence that looks very similar to the structures on Thomas Drive.
It is. It's the
So these
same
are all
development.
neighboring properties known by different addresses on the tax
Exactly.
map.
Yep.
Thanks.
Okay, any questions? Motion?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Cochran, second.
Second.
By Councilman O'Connor. All those in favor? Abstention?
Yeah.
It is approved.
Number 22, to clean up the premises located at 1275 East 3rd Avenue, Bayshore. On this property, there now exists high grass, overgrown vegetation, and litter and debris, which constitutes a nuisance and presents a fire, safety, and health hazard. Notice of this hearing was provided to all known persons with a property interest in this premises.
Any questions? Motion?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman O'Connor, second.
Second.
By Councilwoman Mullen. All those in favor?
Abstain.
Abstain. Councilwoman Bergen. Resolution's approved.
Number 23, to demolish the premises located at 2377 Marion Street, Ronkonkoma. On this vacant and unsecured property, there now exists an unsafe dwelling, which is in immediate danger of collapse due to structural failure, disrepair, and neglect. The structure has been determined to be in imminent danger of collapse by our senior building inspector. The dwelling constitutes a nuisance and presents a fire, safety, and health hazard. Notice of this hearing was provided to all known persons with a property interest in this premises.
Any questions?
Yeah, I have some questions.
Yep.
Sorry. Taryn, were you here when Mr. Fanny spoke earlier during the public comment period?
I was.
And he identified himself as the owner of that property?
He's the owner of the next property, actually,
It's the next one.
the 24.
I'm one ahead of myself.
three
Yes.
demos.
I think somebody handed me the wrong thing here.
Sorry. I'm the one that put the pictures up, too. Sorry.
This one, 24?
We're on
We're on
23 right now,
23.
though.
All right.
You're ahead of yourself.
But I'll be ready.
That's a good thing.
Thanks.
Okay, so on 23, are there any questions? Motion?
Motion.
Motion by Councilwoman Mullen, second by Councilman Cochran, abstention by Councilwoman Bergen. All those in favor? It is approved.
Number 24, to demolish the premises located at 3321 Sunrise Highway, Islip Terrace. On this vacant and unsecured property, there now exists an unsafe dwelling, which is in immediate danger of collapse due to structural failure, disrepair, and neglect. The structure has been determined to be in imminent danger of collapse by our senior building inspector. The dwelling constitutes a nuisance and presents a fire, safety, and health hazard. Notice of this hearing was provided to all known persons with a property interest in this premises.
Councilman?
I'm ready.
Oh, how did
Do
you
you have a
know?
question?
How did everybody know?
Very intuitive.
So you were here when Ms. Stefani spoke at the public comment period?
I was.
And identified himself as the owner of the property?
Yes.
And the supervisor asked him a couple of questions. One about, how long ago he first became aware that this was an issue, and I think he mentioned a year, and then he then further represented that about 6 weeks ago, he had received a letter of this proceeding.
For this action proceeding.
So I noticed, as we worked our way through item number 3 today, that numbers 3 and 11 were withdrawn.
Yes.
And I think the comment you used is because they are now in compliance.
Yes.
So there is a way for a property owner who finds themselves on this list to contact the town attorney's office or you,
For the fire marshals. but yes.
fire marshal, to bring the property into compliance so that an item can work itself, at least temporarily, off the agenda, hopefully permanently,
exactly.
hopefully, for their neighbors,
Yes.
permanently off this list. But for today's purposes, they were withdrawn.
Exactly.
And did Ms. Stefani do that?
No.
Okay. Is there an opportunity for him to still do that?
If we pass the resolution, we can give him some time, but I will let you know that the fire marshals, it's been going on for 8 years. The fire occurred 8 years ago.
I live in the area. I know what
That's why we
what
weren't
the
willing
property
to
was.
give
It
him-
was a taco stand or something before that, before the fire, I recall.
May I interrupt on one? I just want to pick up
Can I
on...
finish one question? I just want one more question. At a recent meeting, I think someone from West Islip came forward with a similar situation where he came forward at the meeting, and we did say, well, we're willing to work with you, but we can't withdraw it off the calendar today because there was significant expense that occurred as a result of putting this matter on today's agenda, right?
Exactly.
Okay, but we did represent the willingness to work with him, as we'd be willing to work with Ms. Stefani.
We could.
Okay, thank you, I'm sorry.
That's all right. I just wanted to codify what I thought I heard you say, that it's been 8 years?
Since the fire occurred.
Okay.
Since the dwelling's been in that condition. However, I've only been here a
Yeah,
few years,
no.
so I don't know how long we've been
Yeah,
actually working on the
okay.
property. But
So it didn't just happen
The
6
fire
weeks
didn't just
ago
happen
or a
6
year ago? Okay. And as the councilman just said, he has the opportunity to work with us.
Exactly.
Okay. All right, is there a motion?
Motion.
Motion by
Second.
Councilman Cochran, second by Councilman O'Connor. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I can vote on this one, yes.
Oh,
That's-
good.
Yes.
So we have 5 in favor. It is approved.
Thank you.
Okay,
Well,
thank you
that's
so
it.
much. Okay, the next meeting is, the next agenda item is a meeting of the Town of Islip Industrial Development Agency. Mr. Mannix, I'll call for a motion to convene.
Motion to convene.
A motion to convene.
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Bergen, second by Councilman O'Connor. We are convened, a quorum being present.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the agency board. William Mannix, Executive Director, Town of Islip Industrial Development Agency, 40 Nassau Avenue, Islip. You have a number of items for your attention today, the first of which is the approval of the minutes of the May 14th meeting.
Any questions on the minutes?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Councilwoman Bergen, second.
Second.
By Councilwoman Mullen. All those in favor? Opposed? It is approved.
Next item on the agenda is an inducement resolution for AlphaMed Realty. AlphaMed Realty is related to AlphaMed Bottling and Ascent Pharmaceuticals. Together, they will form a consortium of pharmaceutical manufacturing operations. Currently, they have 340,000 square feet in Central Islip. This would add an additional 90,000 square feet for a distribution center. I wanted to point out that a recent study that was just completed last week and was the subject of a public meeting noted that pharmaceutical manufacturing is the largest growth cluster on Long Island, and we have our own little node of manufacturing over in Central Islip with 3 companies, 4 buildings totaling 700,000 square feet, and approximately 900 employees at the completion of this project. All of which, the property was all of
it was off the taxable rolls, including this property, which will be purchased from New York Institute of Technology.
Are there any questions?
No.
Motion? Motion by Councilman Cochran, second by Councilman Bergen. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It is approved.
Next item on the agenda is an inducement resolution for Carlisle Hot Dog property. This is an assisted living facility proposing to be constructed on vacant property on north of the 495 and on Wheeler Road, 111. The project represents a $31 million investment, create 80 jobs, and would involve 97,500 square feet of space and 136 beds.
Any questions? Motion by Councilman O'Connor, second.
Second.
Second by Councilman Mullen. All those in favor? Opposed? It is approved.
Next item is an inducement resolution for Cabinetry by Design. They are a cabinetry manufacturer currently located in Deer Park in the town of Babylon, looking to purchase 1,000 Sylvan Avenue in Bayport and expand from their current 10,000 square foot footprint to 32,540 feet in Bayport. And they would be investing almost $5.7 million. They have 44 employees. They would be adding an additional 12.
Any questions?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Cochran, second.
Second.
By Councilman Bergen. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It is approved.
Next item is another inducement resolution for Kundig Contracting. Coincidentally enough, they are also a cabinetry manufacturer. They're moving from one building on Fifth Avenue in Ronkonkoma, where they lease, to an ownership interest in 2076 Fifth Avenue, also in Ronkonkoma. They currently employ 30. They'll be creating an additional 10. They'll be expanding from 15,000 square feet to 23,008, and they'll be investing $3.25 million.
Any questions? Motion by Councilman O'Connor, second.
Second.
By Councilman Mullen. All those in favor? Opposed? It is approved.
Item 7 is an amended authorizing resolution for an approved IDA project, 46 Windsor LLC, an industrial spec building. There was a mistake in the length of the pilot agreement that was authorized at our April meeting, and we're just correcting that mistake.
Any questions? Motion?
I do, I have a question. What is the length now, Bill?
It was authorized at 10 years, and because this project is in the parameters of the old Empire Zone in Central Islip, we actually offer a 14-year tax abatement in that community.
Particular area. Okay, thank you.
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Cochran, second by Councilman O'Connor. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It is approved.
Next item is also an amended authorizing resolution for 75 Sunrise Highway LLC, the Veterinary Medical Center. That's an existing project. We authorized a mortgage on the property in 2017 of $2 million. They are instead looking to place a much larger mortgage of $7.1 million. I want to remind everybody that this mortgage is not an obligation of the agency, but because we are a signator on the mortgage, we have to authorize the amount. Again, it's not an obligation on our part.
Any questions? Motion by Councilman O'Connor, second.
Second.
By Councilman Mullen. All those in favor? Opposed? It is approved.
The last item on the agenda is an authorizing resolution for a project we induced at our last meeting, 80 Wilshire Boulevard LLC, which is a proposed 230,000 square foot industrial building in Edgewood.
Any questions? Motion?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Mullen, second.
Second.
By Councilwoman Bergen. All those in favor? Opposed? It is approved.
I have no other items.
Business. Motion to adjourn. And Bill, before
Second.
you leave, thank you very much for the great job you guys did on the CEO Summit. Very well attended and a lot of really good positive feedback. The topic was workforce development and retention, and a lot of people walked away with some really good advice. So thank you.
And thank you for adding my question into the panel on hiring disabled in our Islip community as well.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I do want to mention that, just so the general public knows, that the number one decision-making question on every business's mind when considering where to locate, where to expand their operations is there an available workforce?
And, you know, it's very, very true, and retaining that workforce is very vital and very, you know, just something people are really focused on now as we are in our town.
Yes.
So, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Okay, the next item on the agenda, item 5, authorization for the town clerk to advertise for a public hearing to consider amending the Town of Islip Uniform Traffic Code. Any questions? Hearing none, motion? Motion by Councilman O'Connor, second.
Second.
By Councilman Mullen, all those in favor? Opposed? The authorization for the hearing is approved. Next item is an authorization for the supervisor to enter into a license agreement with Matt Welling for one parcel of town-owned Bay Bottom land for the purpose of shellfish cultivation. Any
Motion.
questions?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Bergen, second.
Second.
Second by Councilman O'Connor. All those in favor? Opposed?
Abstain.
We have 3 in favor, 2 abstentions. The resolution passes. Item 7, authorization for the supervisor to enter into a license agreement with Sixto Portilla for one parcel of town-owned Bay Bottom land for the purpose of shellfish cultivation. Any question?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Bergen, second by Councilman O'Connor. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We have
2 abstentions.
1 abstention, 4 in favor. The resolution passes. Next item, 8, authorization for supervisor to execute an amended license agreement with Dune Fishery for the purpose of shellfish cultivation in the Great South Bay. Any questions?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Bergen,
Second.
second by Councilman Mullen. All those in favor? Opposed? We have 4 in favor, 1 abstention. The resolution passes. Next item is the meeting of the Town of Islip Resource Recovery Agency. I will call for a motion.
Motion.
To convene the
Second.
meeting. Motion by Councilman O'Connor, second by Councilman Bergen. The Islip Resource Recovery Agency meeting is convened, quorum being present, and
Good afternoon,
Mr.
Madam
Ballou,
Chair.
good to see you.
Members of the agency board. Martin Ballou, President of the Islip Resource Recovery Agency, located at 401 Main Street, Islip, New York. I have a few items for your consideration today. First item is approval of the minutes from the May 14th, 2019 agency board meeting.
are there any questions on the minutes? Motion by Councilman Cochran, second.
I just have a question on my minutes. Says March 19th. Was that the last time we had a meeting on this?
Yeah, we didn't have one in April.
Okay.
Okay,
Is there a second?
Second.
we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The minutes are approved.
Who made the motion?
I did.
Thank you.
Okay, the next item is an authorizing resolution for salary adjustments in the amount of 2% to coincide with the Town of Islip's white collar unit.
Okay, any questions? Motion?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Mullen, second.
Second.
By Councilman Bergen. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It is approved.
That concludes the business of the
Okay,
Motion to
thank you
adjourn.
very much. We have a motion by Councilman O'Connor, second by Councilman Cochran to adjourn. The agency stands adjourned. Thank you very much. Item 10 is for a town board approval to permit the Town of Islip Youth Bureau to host drop-off sites throughout the town to collect donation for the very popular school supply donation drive program. Any questions? Motion?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Mullen, second.
Second.
By Councilman Bergen. All those in favor? Opposed? It is approved. 11, authorization for the supervisor to renew contract with the New York State Office of People with Developmental Disabilities to accept funding for the Youth Bureau to provide a therapeutic recreation modern dance program for developmentally disabled youth and young adults in the town of Islip. Any
Motion.
questions? Motion by Councilman O'Connor, second by Councilman Bergen. All those in favor? Opposed? It is approved. Item 12, authorization for supervisor to renew the professional service agreement with L.K. McLean Associates for on-call traffic engineering services.
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Bergen, second by Councilman Cochran. All those in favor? Opposed? It is approved. We move to item 13, authorization for the supervisor to execute an extension of the town's grant contract with DASNY for project ID 5697 for landscaping, parking, streetscape, and pedestrian bikeway improvements in Brentwood. Any questions?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Cochran, second
Second.
by Councilman Bergen. All those in favor? Opposed? It is approved. Next item on the agenda is board acceptance of a deed from Princess Avenue LLC for a road widening dedication of a parcel of land along the west side of Princess Avenue in Bay Shore for highway purposes. Any questions? Motion? Motion by Councilwoman Mullin, second by Councilman Cochran. All those in favor? Opposed? It is approved. Next is an acceptance of an easement in favor of the town of Islip for drainage purposes for the premises located at 274B and 276A, 3rd Avenue in Bay Shore. Any questions?
Motion.
Motion by Councilwoman Bergen, second. By Councilwoman Mullen. All those in favor? Opposed? It is approved. Next item is an approval for the submission of a grant application to the New York State Department of Homeland Security for the elevation of one building located within the town of Islip. Any questions?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Bergen, second by Councilman Cochran. All those in favor? Opposed? It is approved. Next item is an authorization for the supervisor to extend the contract with Intel Tech Security Services, LLC, for PSE 1-2014, monitoring, maintenance, and installation of alarms, fire and intrusion detection. Any questions? Motion?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Cochran, second by Councilman Bergen. All those in favor? Opposed? It is approved. We move to item 18, authorization for supervisor to execute agreements with the Suffolk County Board of Elections to use certain town facilities as polling places in 2019-20 for voting in primary, general, and/or special elections. Any
Motion.
questions? Motion by Councilman Bergen, second by Councilman O'Connor. All in favor? Opposed? It is approved. Next is an authorization with the supervisor to enter into an agreement for a one-year extension with Fire Island Ferries to extend the previous agreements to utilize town-owned property in connection with their ferry service. Any questions? Motion?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Bergen, second. By Councilman O'Connor. All those in favor? Opposed? It is approved. Item 20, authorization for supervisor to execute a quitclaim deed on behalf of the town conveying the abandoned portion of Brooklyn Boulevard in Bay Shore to 1174 Sunrise Associates LLC. Any questions? Motion?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Bergen, second. By Councilman Mullen. All those in favor? Opposed? Approved. Next is an authorization for supervisor to enter into an extension of the existing license agreement with Great South Bay Seafood Company, LLC, to license real property located at the terminus of Ocean Avenue in Bay Shore. Any questions?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Bergen, second. By Councilman Mullen. All those in favor? Opposed? Approved. The next item is an authorization for the supervisor to enter into an extension of the existing license agreement for the continued use and occupancy of the town real property located at 190 Carlton Avenue, East Islip. Any questions? Motion?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Cochran,
Second.
second by Councilman Bergen. All those in favor? Opposed? It is approved. Item 23 is an authorization for the supervisor to enter into an agreement with C&S Companies for engineering design for the main terminal improvements project. Any questions? Motion?
Motion.
By Councilman Mullen, second.
Second.
By Councilman Cochran. All those in favor? Opposed? Approved. Item 24, authorization for the supervisor to enter into various agreements for programs to be held throughout the town of Islip to be funded by either registration or grant fees. Any questions? Motion? Motion by Councilman O'Connor, second. By Councilman Mullen. All those in favor? Opposed? Approved. Item 24 is an authorization for the supervisor to enter into an agreement with Connoisseur Media to provide the production and airtime for radio spots featuring disabled parking regulation messages pertaining to disabled parking program. Any questions? Motion?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Cochran, second.
Second.
By Councilman O'Connor. All those in favor? Opposed? It is approved. Item 26 is an authorization for the supervisor to enter into an agreement with Connoisseur Media to produce and administer promotional advertisements via 30-second radio commercials and on-site appearances. Any questions? Motion?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Bergen, second. By Councilman Mullen. All those in favor? Opposed? Approved. Item 27 is an acceptance of a monetary donation to be determined by Islip Food for Hope, in addition to permit the Department of Parks and Rec to host several drop-off sites throughout the town to be used for the annual Thanksgiving food basket program. Any questions?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Cochran, second by Councilman Bergen. All those in favor? Opposed? It is approved. Item 28, authorization for supervisor to execute a vehicle lease renewal with the Suffolk County Office for the Aging for the purpose of providing continued transportation for the senior citizen residents of the town of Islip. Any questions?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Bergen, second. By Councilwoman Mullen. All those in favor? Opposed? Approved. Item 29, authorization for supervisor to execute an indemnification agreement with the Kismet Fire District to permit the Town of Islip Lifeguard Service District to store certain equipment at the Kismet Auxiliary Firehouse. Any questions? Motion by Councilwoman Bergen, second
Second.
by Councilwoman Mullen. All those in favor? Opposed? It is approved with one recusal. Item 30 is an authorization with the supervisor to enter into an intermunicipal agreement with Suffolk County for the Gibson Street sidewalk pedestrian upgrades in Bay Shore. Any questions? Motion by Councilman Cochran, second by Councilwoman Bergen. All those in favor? Opposed? It is approved. Item 31, the next item is an authorization with the supervisor to enter into a contract with Wellsback Electric Corp. of Long Island for DPW 4-2019 installation and maintenance of streetlights. Any questions? Motion by Councilwoman Bergen, second by Councilwoman Mullen. All those in favor? Opposed? Approved. Item 32, authorization for the supervisor to enter into an agreement with Suffolk County for the installation of a traffic signal on Union Boulevard at Aletta Place in Bay Shore. This is by the hospital. Any motion by Councilman Cochran, second by Councilman O'Connor. All those in favor? Opposed? It is approved. And here's hoping we get one of these for that street that the gentleman spoke about earlier. Item 33 is an agreement with Suffolk County Water Authority to reimburse the town for the paving restoration of various streets in East Islip due to the recently installed water main on those roads. Any questions? Motion? Motion by Councilwoman Mullen, second by Councilman O'Connor, Councilman Cochran, I'm sorry. All those in favor? Opposed? It is approved. Talking about paving, I have to commend the commissioner and his team. They have done a phenomenal job this season despite the rainy events that caused postponements, but there's a lot of paving that has been done from all ends of this town, east, west, north, south. It really looks good, so thank you. Item 34, board approval of an amended list of names required to file a financial disclosure statement with the town of Islip. Any questions? Motion by Councilwoman Bergen, second by Councilwoman Mullen. All those in favor? Opposed? Approved. Next on the agenda are the special events. We have 3 festivals, 4 runs, 31 block parties, and many other great events. Any questions? Motion by Councilwoman Bergen, second by Councilman Cochran. All those in favor? Opposed? It is approved. Next is an approval to amend the contract on behalf of the Central Islip Hauppauge Volunteer Ambulance District and the Central Islip Hauppauge Volunteer Ambulance Corps. Any questions? Motion? Motion by Councilman O'Connor, second by Councilwoman Mullen. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It is approved. Did you?
No, I voted aye.
Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't hear. Item 36 is approved. We move then to 37. Is an approval to co-sponsor a Veterans Day event to be held on June 28th with Ruzi Bohm, Post 411, American Legion, for the use of the Islip Town Range. Any questions? Hearing none. Motion? Motion by Councilman Cochran, second by Councilman Bergen. All those in favor? Opposed? It is approved. I just have a question.